All right, so multiplying and dividing expressions. We're dealing with rational expressions. A rational expression is a ratio of two polynomial expressions. So example one, it wants us to simplify this rational expression. What you have to do is you have to break it down to its simplest form and factor everything to make sure it's simplified. Because we're trying to look to get things to cancel out. All right, so if I want to do the top of this, you need to factor the top of this. Okay, so factoring the top, I want to multiply to be a 3. I want it to add to a 4. My options are 3 and 1. So for me to rewrite the top, my 5x, there's nothing I can do with. My new breakdown of this statement is going to be x plus 3, x plus 1, and then I have to now look at the bottom. Okay, x minus 6, that's simplified as much as I can. All right, x squared minus 9. This is something a lot of us forget. That's a difference of two squares. You can square root this term, you can square root this term. Difference of two squares. You square root both of them, you have a plus and a minus. X plus 3, x minus 3. Now, to simplify, you need to look for the same term on top and the same term on bottom. So if I'm looking at this, I have an x plus 3 on top, I have an x plus 3 on bottom. They go away. It's gone. Okay, it's factored out. So you're left with 5x, x plus 1. On bottom, you have x minus 6 and x minus 3. That is your final answer. Under what conditions is the expression undefined? When we're talking about undefined, okay, that is when your denominator is equal to 0. It can't be equal to 0. You can never have a 0 in the bottom of your fraction. So you need to set the bottom equal to 0. Now, you need to go back to the original and set it equal to 0. Okay, you can look at this one and set it equal to 0. Make sure you do all three of them. So you have to do x minus 6 equals 0. You have to do x plus 3 equals 0 and x minus 3 equals 0. So you're going to get 6, negative 3, and 3. So x cannot equal 6, negative 3, and 3. That's where it will be undefined. All right, I'll look at example 2 and I'll do that one with you guys as well. It says simplify the rational expression, and under what conditions is this expression undefined? All right, so we're going to do the same thing we did as in example 1. Okay, factor out what we can and then solve the denominator. So the top, if you're looking at the top, there's nothing I can do. So it's 4y, y minus 3, y plus 4, over. I can factor this out. It multiplies to a negative 6, adds to a negative 1. That's negative 3 and 2. So I'm going to have a y. Y minus 3 and a y plus 2. All right. So you have a y minus 3 on top and bottom. You also have a y and a y. They go away as well. So you have 4y plus 4 over y plus 2. That's your final answer. All right, now we have to see where it's undefined at. Setting this one equal to 0. So it's y equals 0, y minus 3 equals 0, and y plus 2 equals 0. So y cannot equal 0, 3, and a negative 2. That's the final answer, these two parts. All right, I'm going to have you guys look at example 3 and example 4. They're the same exact question that we just were talking about. Same exact concept. Break them down and figure out when it's undefined at. Okay, example 5. I forgot to put a parenthesis right here, so make sure you add that parenthesis. This is the same concept, there's just a tad little difference. So we're going to do example 5 together, just so we can clear it out. So let's look at example 5. How can we do something with GCFs or factoring or anything? Only thing that I can see is in this first problem right here, 4w squared minus 3wy. They both have a w in common, so we're going to pull it out as a GCF. So pull out a w, you're left with 4w minus 3y. W plus y, and then you have a 3y minus 4w. 5w plus y. Okay, so now they look somewhat similar, but they're not similar. Okay, so it has a 4w. Well, this has a negative 4w. This has a negative 3y. This has a positive 3y. So the thing is they're different. They're different by a negative. So we need to get that negative out. All right, so there's a big thing about like pull out your negative. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do it to the bottom here. So I'm going to rewrite the top. I'm going to pull out a negative. So now it's going to become a negative 3y, a positive 4w. You only have to pull it out of that one term, not both of them. All right, so now, do they match? You have a negative 3y, you have a positive 4y. They do. It can get crossed out now. All right, so now we're going to rewrite our answer. The negative, it looks ugly in the bottom, so we're going to just bring it to the top. That's to make it look nicer. So it's negative w plus y, and on bottom we just have our 5w plus y. Answer. All right, I'm going to let you guys try example 6, and we're going to go on to reading a new property here. All right, so multiplying rational expressions. To multiply rational expressions, multiply your numerators and multiply your denominators. So multiplying a fraction, you multiply the top by the top, the bottom by the bottom. It's the same exact concept. We just now have expressions instead of it just being numbers. All right, so we're going to go straight across. So what I like to do is I like to just make this line a tad bigger, and we're going to go straight across. Okay, so it's 6 times 15, which is 90. C times C is C squared. And then we have a D squared. 5 times 8 is 40. You have a D and an A. I always like to write it alphabetical just because that's standard form. So I'm going to write AD. Now, we just have to simplify this. Okay, you're already at your answer. You just have to break it down so it's in its simplest form. Okay, so 0 over 0 goes away. So I'm left with 9 over 4. Can I simplify 9 over 4 anymore? No, I can't. So it's 9 over 4. It's going to be part of my answer. All right. C squared. Is there anything I can do with it? No. Put it in the answer. D squared. Well, there's a D on the bottom. So this D goes away and one of them goes away. Remember, when it's over each other, you subtract your exponents. So we have 1d left on top. Nothing goes with my a, so I'm going to put an a at the bottom. And this would be my answer. Okay, now I want to talk about the dividing rational expressions, okay, because I just talked to you about multiplying. You're going to try a multiplying question, but we're going to move on to dividing. So it's to divide rational expressions, multiply by the reciprocal of the divisor. So I know you guys always have heard keep, change, flip. So keep your first, change it to a multiplication sign, flip your problem around. So turn it upside down. Okay, so let's look at a problem that we're going to do. Example 9. Okay, keep the first. So just rewrite it. 18xy cubed over 7a squared b squared. Keep it. Change it to multiplication. Flip it. So now you're going to write the bottom on the top. 35a squared b over 12x squared y. Now, it's the same exact thing as we just did in the last problem together. Okay, go straight across. So equals 18 times 35 is 630. X, Y, A, B. Nothing that can combine, so you're going to just write it. A squared B X, Y cubed. Okay, 7 times 12 is 84. A, B, X, Y. Nothing combined, so write it. A squared B squared X squared Y. Okay, so now it's just simplifying from here. All right, there's in your calculator, you can do fractions and turn them into fractions. And then put it in a decimal and then turn it into a fraction. Depends on what calculator you're using. Your method is a tad different, and I can help you do that if you would like. It's a feature that I use all the time because it makes things a lot faster and quicker so that you don't have to sit here and find your GCF. Okay, so in my calculator, if I do 630 divided by 84, okay, press enter, I get 7.5. Now, if you look on this calculator, there's an FD button that stands for fraction to decimal. So if I press second fraction to decimal, it's going to give me, now this is an improper, and this is a mixed number, so we need to change it. So right below, they're going to write it a little bit different, and it'll give me my 15 over 2. Or I could have just converted that last fraction that they gave me. On your graphing calculators, which I know a lot of you have in this class, it's under math, and then you just press fraction. Okay, so I know my fraction is going to be 15 over 2. That's just a shortcut. You don't have to do that way. It's just something that makes things a little faster for all of us. A squared goes away. You have a b and a b squared. Okay, there's one more down here, so you're going to put one at the bottom. Goes away, goes away. X squared. There's an extra one down here, so you're going to put your x at the bottom. All right, y cubed, a y. Take one of those, take one of those. We have a y squared. This would be my final answer. 2y squared over 2bx. Okay, you're going to have to go to video number 2 to get the rest of these notes.